Hello everyone, Joyce Loy here, excited for our next topic. Our topic is how we can overcome limiting belief. I am Joyce Loy, Dare to Glow coach. Of recent, I've been getting some messages of people saying, why did you have to choose that name? And I have my why. My why is I was in a place where everyone, I wouldn't say everyone really, but most of the people around me always believe that I cannot accomplish a bit of the things that I've accomplished right now. And I dared them. I'm like, I'm going to dare you to see me go through these things. And it was a dare to them, but also to myself, because I told myself I'm going to do it. Why did I start with this today? It's because we limit ourselves. Sometimes people tell us things and we take them in. We take in that negative talk. We accept what people are saying of us. You can't do this. And then you take it up. You can't be a scientist. You take it up. But if you are taking a leap of faith and just prove to them and dare yourself and bet on yourself that you can actually be a scientist, maybe you would have been a scientist. So our topic today is how can you overcome limiting beliefs from other people, beliefs from yourself. Other than that, I would like to introduce our guest today. Before I introduce my co-host, I would like to introduce our guest today, Coach Tanya, to say something about herself and what she does.
Hi, and my name is Coach Tonya. I'm a rep life mindset coach. I talk about ways to shift irrational beliefs to enable you be the better version of yourself. In life, we all have our struggles. Sometimes we feel less empowered. We feel we don't have the power to live our best life. So, as a repped life mindset coach, I help clients to shift that narrative to take their power back so that they can live their best life. Thank you.
All right, and then that's an amazing introduction. And then I'll say, Coach Jay, can you give us a small introduction? And not a small one, a big introduction because you're big, man.
Thank you. As a CEO, I have a lot of things to say, but my name is Coach Njogu. I am a transformation mindset coach. I believe that for us to blossom, for us to live happier lives, for us to enjoy life, we have to start with our mindset, shifting those limiting beliefs. And I like how you started off, Coach Joy, by saying how you became a Dare to Glow coach is because you were daring yourself and other people. And part of it is shift of mindset. When we shift our mindset, two things normally happen. Number one, we are able to stop having those thinking patterns that are stopping us from becoming better. There's something that blocks us from moving forward. It's okay to have grown in a certain environment, but it's not okay for you to make that an excuse not to blossom, not to become great, not to become that scientist, that doctor. And personally, I would also say my why I became a mindset coach is because I don't just do this because I was trained. I do this because I have lived it. I have seen what happens when I shift my mindset. I am much happier now. I feel I am leading a much more purposeful life. So shift of mindset is very, very important in our everyday lives. Over to you.
That is very true. And recently, as part of my training, I'm glad you actually talked about that, Coach Jay. Recently, part of my training in the coaching minds, there is something they always say: why do you do what you do? So while you have all these limiting beliefs, sit down and ask yourself, why am I accepting this to limit me? Why am I taking responsibility of something that I could actually control? Because at the end of the day, life is filled of so many events that we cannot control, that are outside our control. But what we can control is how we react towards them. So sit down and ask yourself, can you control that situation? because that's what I asked myself when someone told me, you're going to UAE, you cannot be this, you cannot be that, and this and this. And that was almost 7 years ago. And here I am. 7 years ago, a lot has changed in my life. But that is because I dared myself. That is because I wanted a purposeful life. I wanted to live a more meaningful life. And it's what I chose. So what do you choose for yourself? And that is going to go to my first point. Our guest is going to give us her first point on how we can overcome limiting beliefs. Coach Tanya?
Thank you, Coach Joy and Coach Jane. Limiting belief is what we all possess as humans. We cannot, it's an inevitable attribute of our life. Okay, so every day we get to, we see reasons or narrative, like I mentioned in the last video, where we have this societal or environment conditioning. Even as a coach, we all have some things that limit us in some ways. So there are several pointers on how to overcome this narrative, this negative narrative about yourself. And the first and the most important thing before going into more details is you acknowledging the fact that there's a roadblock, and you have a potential. There's something blocking you, and looking for a solution to look for those impediments that is stopping you from thriving. All right. So when you acknowledge, you need to first of all acknowledge that. Like I made mention in our last video about you traveling on a journey, and then you tend to um, experience a roadblock. Okay, so you look for that alternative route. You already have that narrative, that the mindset that there's a roadblock. So you looking for another diverse route to keep on moving on your journey. You're already acknowledging that yes, there's a roadblock, but nothing is stopping you. That's not the kind of analogy I'm trying to portray on how to just imagine yourself telling yourself that yes, you know you have this. Okay, what is that thing? Acknowledge that there is something. It could be self-doubt, it could be fear, it could be low people pleasing. Try and find out. Acknowledge that you're having that particular stuff. Then you challenge them. You challenge yourself. Challenging yourself is another beautiful path for us to progress. Like I always say to people, our social environment and our environmental environment has actually conditioned us to believe certain narrative. And the problem people have is they are not able or having that zeal or that willingness to challenge those narrative. So you as someone that is striving to reach his or her goal, you just need to challenge those negative thoughts. Ask yourself, like the relationship I made mention in our last video to where she was like she doesn't grow into any relationship, for instance. No, when in that aspect, I told her you need to challenge yourself that you're not in this relationship does not mean that you're not good enough. You can still make it better. Okay, how can I make myself better? How can I, you just need to change your perspective is everything. Do you understand? So when you challenge that narrative, that limiting narrative about yourself, then you look for possible ways to take actions. Because the truth is, not you're made for greatness. So if nobody's going to come and help you, you are the person that will help you. You're the person that will understand that you have those potentials to thrive. So if you're not willing to challenge yourself, there's no way you can grow. So these are the first and second pointers on how to overcome this self-imposed limiting beliefs. Back to you, Coach Joy.
Yes, and I 100% I agree with what you said. Okay. I agree with you 100% with what you said. Normally, what we tell ourselves, so we should change our talk, our self-talk. And we covered this topic, I think last year regarding self-talk, the what we tell, the negative self-talk that we tell ourselves, which limits us. The moment you sit back and tell yourself, what is limiting me? Are they things I tell myself? Things like I'm too old. Who says you're too old? I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too old to have a baby. I'm too old to get married. All these things is you telling yourself, I am. When you step out of that, I am too old, and tell yourself, you know what? I'm young and sassy, I can still do this. And trust me, you will be able to do it. But the moment you run that negative talk, it becomes your reality. And there I am. Thank you so much, Coach Tanya. I'll go to Coach J to share some of her points.
Thank you so much. So my first point is going to be linked with what Coach Tanya has talked about, and it's about recognizing the limiting beliefs. When you go to a doctor, Coach Joy, and you say your body has a problem, what does the doctor do? The doctor will send you to the lab for you to they run a number of tests on you, your blood test or maybe your urine test or whatever they do. And then after that is when they find out where the problem is. So before they give you that Panadol or paracetamol or whatever, they need to do the test on you. The same thing comes to our limiting beliefs. Last week, we covered the types of limiting beliefs. We talked about behavioral beliefs, conscious, unconscious, and rational beliefs. And if anybody's watching us now in the replay and you missed that session, I would highly recommend you go back to the Facebook group, Mindset Shift CEOs group, or my YouTube channel, Coach Joyceless YouTube channel, for you to familiarize with these types. So once you identify what type of limiting beliefs are you experiencing, that way you're able to know how you can better handle those limiting beliefs. Because today we are going to provide tools between the three of us, and there's so many other tools out there. But the truth of the matter is, not all tools are going to work on your type of limiting belief. You might be experiencing maybe behavioral belief, somebody else is unconscious and conscious. So the tools, they differ from person to person. So once you recognize that you do have limiting beliefs and understanding the type of limiting beliefs, it's going to be a greater tool for you to better manage them. Back to you, Coach Joy.
Yes, that's very true. What may work for me may not work for Coach Tanya, or may not even work for you, Coach Jay. Another man's meat is another man's poison, like we say in the African way. So your circumstances may be different from my circumstance, and maybe we may have the same way of handling it, but we may also have a different way of handling it. And that may go to my point also, taking responsibility. Take responsibility of your mindset, of yourself, because the moment you take responsibility of yourself, of your mindset, definitely you're going to be able to achieve those goals without accepting anything to limit you. The only thing that can limit you is something out of your control. But things within your control, those that you keep telling yourself that I can't step out of my comfort zone, oh, I'm comfortable here, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is like you're stuck. I keep telling some of my friends, you are not a tree. I had a very good friend of mine who kept telling me, Joe, you know what, I want to change my job. And I kept telling her, what is stopping you? She's like, you see, I don't want to leave because I love working with you. And I told her one thing, why did you come to this country? Why did you leave your country and come to this country? To work, make money, and take care of my family. Oh, okay. So you met me. So how long do you think we are going to be together? Lifetime? Maybe. Maybe not. What I want you to do is not to give up on what you want to achieve because you want to be close to me. Go out there and blossom. And at the end of the day, I told her, I don't want to be the limiting. I don't want to be the one limiting you from achieving your goals because you love working with me. There's more to life, So sometimes we limit ourselves with things we can control. If you can control it, please take responsibility. Accept what is limiting you and work on it. Like Coach just said, find that thing that can work for you. Back to you, Coach Tanya, to share your next point. Coach Tanya?
Please come again. Network is
No, I was like, share your next point
shaking
on how
again.
to overcome limiting beliefs.
Hello. What did you say? Come again.
I was saying you can share your next point on how to overcome limiting beliefs.
How can?
Your next point, yeah.
I can't hear you. Oh my God.
Coach,
I can't hear
Coach
you,
Tanya?
Coach Joy.
All right, so I'll go to Coach J. Coach J, can you share your next point, please?
Okay, thank you. Maybe you can send a message to her to join back in so that they. Okay, so my next point as we wait for Coach Tony is going to be reframing that limiting beliefs. And what does reframing mean? Reframing means creating a new way to look at things. And I think it was in the last week's session, I gave an example of when you take a picture, you remove the frame, you put a new frame. That's a very good example of reframing because maybe you want a more shiner, vibrant picture. So limiting beliefs can also be reframed by the choice of words we use as well as our thoughts. And an example I can use is when somebody says, I can never be as good as Coach Joy. How can that be reframed? How can you reframe that sentence? You can say, I am going to be a better person than I was yesterday. I will build up my skills to be unique in the market. So in this, when you reframe that sentence, I can never be as good as X or X or as good as somebody else, you start looking at your qualities, you start looking at your capabilities, you start looking at your skills and how you can become better. Another example is we can use, I am too old for the gym. And this is where I always counter and ask, according to who said you're too old for the gym? Who said you're too old to, to have a baby? Who said this thing? According to whom? And this sentence of I am too old for the gym can be reframed by I am stronger than I was yesterday. So this becomes more about progress and less about your age. The other day, last week, I met a lady in the gym. She's 60 years. And she was laughing at every move we were doing because it was an aerobics class. And she was laughing. And I got curious. I just started having a chat with her. And then she was like, you know what? I'm at 60. And everybody told me I could not manage to, to do these things in the gym. So whenever I see myself making this move and moving, even if I don't get it correctly, I am happy because I came here and every day I come to the gym, I look at it as a challenge. So I am learning, I am improving. And when I go home, I tell my spouse, I tell my grandchildren what I did in the gym. So it excites me. And that's a reframe because if she's stuck with the thought of my age, oh, hell no, I cannot go to the gym. No. But she chose to look at it in a different way.
How can my grandchildren see me going to the gym?
Exactly. How can that even happen? So when you start removing these blocks, when you start looking at things, reframing the sentence, who said? I always ask yourself, who said I cannot do this? Who said this? So it's going to be easier for you to counter those negative thoughts, reframe it. Look at a picture in your house. If you don't like the frame, what do? You change it. If you don't like the setting of the house, what do? You change it. So it is as simple as that. We can reframe our thoughts. We can choose to decide, you know what, I'm not going to think in this pattern. I'm going to think in this direction. Back to you, Coach Joy.
And you know what you just said right now reminds me of our challenge for March and just reminded me of declutter, the point that I shared yesterday, decluttering. When you declutter, you get rid of things that you loved. It's not like you didn't love these things, you loved them, but you get rid of them to make space for better things, for more new things. So it is the thing about also limiting beliefs and using the reframe method to make it simpler for some people is just get rid of something that you believe may not be working for you. You've used it for a long time and change it with something new. And there I'll go to reading one of the points from someone, but there's no name. I agree, limiting belief is relative. It varies from one person to another. I am in charge. That one I would want to say it with power. I am in charge. The moment you tell yourself I'm in charge of my life, just like we always say in mindset shift CEO. We are the CEOs of our lives. It doesn't matter whether someone else hired me or did not hire me. I know I'm a CEO of my life because I manage my own life. And then there, I will go to the next point from Miss Tanya, Coach Tanya. Coach Tanya, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm hearing you. You said I should talk about
your next point. Your next point.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me talk about empowering belief, cultivating empowering belief. Do you understand? So I'm going to start with, I made mention of challenging your belief, and if you're challenging your belief, you have to, just like what Coach Joy just made mention of, as I'm reframing your belief. You're going to reframe your belief to be more empowering, to be more substantial. Like I always say, always understand that you're powerful. When you realize that you're powerful, you take charge of your life. So there's several ways to empower your belief by shifting those, by shifting yourself. Yeah, you have to shift your negative self-talk to a positive self-talk with more of a positive affirmation. Affirmation is a very beautiful aspect of creating an empowering belief, because no matter what anybody says or says to you, whatever thing you read on the internet or your environment around you, acknowledging the fact that they have that power within you to thrive. As in, of course, you definitely have that power to thrive. Your self talk matters a lot. You have some challenges, you've had fears of rejection or fears of uncertainty. It's what you say to yourself that matters. You need to empower yourself with positive self-talk. The power of positive self-talk can never be overemphasized because it's so worthwhile. And another aspect of creating an empowering belief for yourself is not a spontaneous stuff. It's something that you have to keep practicing until you get accustomed to it. Just like if you have malaria, you're having some special illness, the doctor will definitely prescribe some medications for you, and you're meant to take those medications for as long as you need to get better. That is what that empowering belief will do for you. Let me, for instance, an example of empowering belief is like someone that goes to write exam and fails. Instead of telling yourself, "Oh, I'm a failure." Let me use that word. If you start telling yourself, "I'm a failure," I think it's best to reframe that statement, "I'm a failure," to oh, I know I didn't do well, but I promise I will do better. Probably read better, or do more research so you can pass your test or something. So there are so many beautiful and powerful ways to create an empowering belief to enable you thrive. Limiting belief is something that something that will keep, as human beings, will keep coming to us in one way or the other. So the power and the ability to fight back, to recognizing your values, knowing that you have values and stand by and live by them, understand that you're great, you're meant or destined for greatness, is a very beautiful beautiful aspect to create that empowering perception of yourself. Back to you, Coach Joy.
And that is very true. And I'm going to share something very small here that is connected to that point. To learn how to overcome your limiting belief, you must develop an internal locus control. With this one, it means life happens for you, not to you. Because your own behavior determines your fate. The moment you have this belief in life, life keeps happening to me, it's different. Life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. The moment you start believing that life happens for you, first of all, you'll be grateful for the good things. You'll be more grateful. You have gratitude. You'll be even more, I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure Coach Joe will put more light on this. But what I'm trying to say is there'll be more joy from the inside, other than you looking at the things on the outside. I'm too old, I am this. You look at more of your internal. You'll be grateful for your internal than of your external. Because people who use the word life is happening to me look at the external. Oh, Coach J is so rich. She has a Mercedes Benz. When will I ever drive a Mercedes Benz? Instead of actually telling her, oh, what did you do to get there? You get. So that it also happens for you. You talk to her, how she got there, how she's successful, how she's able to be an accomplished coach, instead of being out here and just saying, she made it through maybe this and this, like we talked about last time with Coach Tanya, a lot of witchcraft beliefs. Maybe she went and she did some juju and all these things, African way of thinking. Try to have the mentality of people can actually be successful. Life can happen for you just like it happened for them, other than always saying, me, things don't happen to me, they don't happen to me because I'm this, because someone did this to me. I don't know. Coach Jay, you could add something on that.
You've taken me back to the conversation we were having after last week Facebook Live. But that takes me to what I was talking about this week's one of the questions for 30 questions to counter negative thoughts. And I used that is a quote from Joel Osteen. When you look at things happening for us and not to us, we are able to shift our negative thoughts. And just to add on what you've said, another aspect you can look at it is intimidation. When you start looking at things happening for you, you'll stop getting intimidated by the achievements of other people. You'll stop feeling like, you don't matter. You'll stop having all these negative thoughts coming your way. When things are happening for you, you start seeing the positive in that situation. Okay, it's fine. I got an accident, but why did this accident occur? Start looking at things in a brighter note, and you'll start feeling that your energy is not being drained by all this negativity, by all this negative, because things will always happen. Let's be honest. Negative things will always happen in the world, but how do you choose to look at that negative thing matters a lot. And as we always say in the Mindset Shift CEOs, as the CEO of your life, you are in charge of the thoughts that you let come into your mind. You are in charge of the things that you want. And when I was growing up, I remember my father, when things used to happen at home, even the negative things, he used to say, it's okay, what can we do? He never used to panic. And probably that's why I picked up how I can shape my mindset, because panicking, on the other hand, what does that do to you, Coach Joy or Coach Tonya? It drains you. You waste your time thinking like, oh, what will have happened? But when you say, what can we do next? You start deducing those solutions. So I'll move on to my next point, which is visualization. I know everybody's familiar with visualization, which is us traveling into the future. Even you can travel tomorrow, a month, a week, a year. It's up to you, to a certain time frame. So when we're having limiting beliefs in a certain area, this is what I want to do. I want you to do. I want to challenge each and everyone who is watching us now and during the replay. Close your eyes. And then once you close your eyes, I want you to observe yourself in the same setup that you're having those negative thoughts. See yourself winning. If, let's say, it was a job, I will not get that job. No, I want you to close your eyes and observe yourself a week after the interview, signing that contract and going to start the job maybe on Monday. And then I want you to tell me, or to observe yourself, how do you feel when you're signing that contract? How do you see sitting in the office starting that job? How is that feeling? And once you feel you get those emotions coming up, I want you now to start asking yourself, what can I do right now in my present time to make sure that that future I have seen becomes a reality? Most people, they say this is daydreaming, but the truth of the matter is, when you do this visualization, you observe yourself in the future, you see yourself delivering, speaking, maybe you're doing a public speaking, because most people, they say they're shy on public speaking. So you observe yourself speaking in public. How do you feel when you ace it, when everybody tells you, oh my God, Coach Joy, Coach Tanya, you did so amazing, da, 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 da. How does that make you feel? When you're in that, you've aced your fitness goal, how does that make you feel? You went to the gym and you did that. So when we start visualizing ourselves, we start observing ourselves, those feelings, they come back to us, and then we start deducing how we can make that future a reality. Because if I saw myself driving my dream car, Range Rover, my God, I need to do what I saw in the future. I will not sit here and say, you know what? that is for specific people. No, I will have to take action. And I love your chapter, Coach Joy, where you talked about success is an action. So I'll have to take that action for me to get that success that I want. Over to you.
Yeah, I actually like visualization. Oh, I love visualization. I'm one person because I don't like negativity. I like more of seeing what I will be tomorrow, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years. Who knows? I'll be there. Just like 5 years ago, I looked at what I would be today. It's not exactly, but it's almost. And I love it. I love the future. And for me, just like my mother always tells us, interestingly, she says the future is coming. The future is coming. And I used to ask my mother, Mommy, when is the future? You told me the future 5 years ago. Now I'm in the future. What has changed in the future? She's like, it's up to you to see what has changed for you for those past 5 years. So that's why I love vision boards also. When you talk about visualization, it reminds me of vision boards. I look at my
Coach
vision board
Joy,
like for last year. Yes, Coach.
sorry, I just wanted to add on. I've remembered what happened to us last week. We spoke about something that we wanted to do, and then somebody approached us out of nowhere, offering us the same thing that we wanted. So I feel like when you start visualizing things, they start manifesting themselves to you. So when you allow yourself to see this coming your way, you start. It's like manifesting, and the universe will just find its way to come to you and give you
Very
what you're
true.
looking for.
Very
Back to
true.
you.
I'm telling you, manifestation is a very, very important thing. And for me, when that actually, I know it's happening soon. We are going to be on that platform very soon, and that will be the first thing we'll be talking about. This is something we talked about, we visualized it, and it has happened. So the visualization is real. It's real. Do not allow people telling you you're daydreaming when you tell them, you know what? In the next 3 years, I'll be driving a Range Rover, a blue one, in fact, because I love the blue one. Huh? I'll be driving the red one. Visualize it so that when it happens, they're like, oh, actually, she talked about it. Huh? Hey, whatever they think, they'll think, but you visualized it, you work towards it, and you got it. Don't limit yourself. So I would like to ask Coach Tanya to share maybe her last point, or if she has more to share.
Yeah, let me add on what Coach Jane just mentioned concerning visualization. It's one of the most powerful aspects to shift limiting belief. It helps us like have this confidence and what I call it, hope, confidence that, and just like let me use an analogy. If somebody wants to go and write, you'll read for exams, right? And you're going to write that exam with that mindset that you're going to pass. Of course, you've read. If you go into that examination hall with fear, you will fail. You will not. You will not. You will not. You won't end up doing well. Let me just use that word. I mean, you might not really fail, but you won't do. You won't actually do well like you were expected to. But if you read your exam, if you read for that exam and you go into the examination hall with that mindset, that vision, that mindset, that frame, that okay, I'm going to come out in flying colors, and you're entering there for the fact that you've read, you're entering there, you're manifesting positivity in your life. It's going to create this abundance, this confidence in you. So that's one thing I love about this point you just made mention of.
All right. And you're right about that. Sometimes you can be even very smart. I've seen smart students, but because they lack the confidence, they keep saying, I don't think I'll get 80%. You convince this child because you know they are smart. No, you will get even 100, by the way, you will. And he goes for it and he gets it. He gets 100 because you gave that child belief, and they relied on your belief and they believe that they can actually achieve it. But if a child or anyone tells you, I don't think I can achieve it, and you tell them, okay, if you think you cannot achieve it, you'll not. Definitely, they're also going to go with that mindset. Oh, I can't. And also, Joyce Lloyd told me I can't. Definitely, you're going to go in even when you read the whole night, you did all the preps and everything, you're definitely going to fail. So sometimes when people don't have hope, we are the ones as coaches or as mentors, we are supposed to be helping these people. come out of their fears. And for me, my last point for today is, I know we cannot stop. It's a very big topic. But my last point is going to be the life and uncertainties. Things will always happen. But when you keep telling yourself, I'll persevere, I'll try my best, you reframe the words that you use, or you try to avoid the negative self-talk. I think I'm just wrapping up everything in one. It will help you to overcome limiting beliefs, because you have the mindset that your mindset is your power. Like I always say, your mindset is your superpower, and nothing will limit you from getting what you want. To Coach J, I don't know, Coach J, can always give us some last words. Like I always like to say it, and you don't like it, but it is what it is.
Last
All
words
right,
for
give us
this
some
session,
points.
not my
Yeah.
words forever. So what I would like to say is two things. Number one, there's something that both of you have mentioned, and then I remembered that if you go to a doctor and a doctor told you have cancer, maybe it's misdiagnosis, what will happen? You will have that in your mind imprinted. You'll start even observing everything happening, the symptoms of cancer. So it's the same thing that happens when we imprint, I am not good enough in our minds. What happens? Everything will always fall. Everything will always, become, it cannot happen. And another example I can use is I used to think I have phobia for swimming, until the other day I told myself, you know what? You don't have this phobia, you can do it. And within the first session that I had, I was able to swim. I was able to do that. So I believe it's things that we imprint in our minds that they stop us from becoming our greatness. You want to start that business, who said it's going to fail? You want to approach that lady, who said she's going to say no? You want your child to go to a good school, who said your child is not going to thrive in that school? So it is things that we have in our minds. And another thing I would like to say as we conclude is this month of March, I have been running a challenge of 30 questions to ask to counter negative thoughts. And most of the things we have addressed now, they are all about how we can counter, because limiting beliefs, they are negative thoughts. So if you would like to learn more how you can counter negative thoughts, you can follow me on my YouTube, or you can go and watch on my YouTube channel at Coach Njogu, because these are things that I realized once we start asking ourselves these questions, we start realizing how much power we possess, how much we are in charge of our lives, of our thoughts. And the other thing you have to remember is when you have these negative thoughts, including the limiting beliefs, it's not just affecting you as an individual. Do an ecology check. Who else gets affected when you have these limiting beliefs? When you say, I cannot do this, is your family getting the best that you're supposed to offer them? So when you start looking at these things, it helps you see why you should transition from this mindset to a positive mindset, a thriving mindset. I call it the best mindset. Thank you, Coach Joy.
Yeah, and I will add on what you said. Whatever you believe becomes your reality. I used to tell myself, up to now, actually, I stopped telling that to myself, but I'll just share it. I used to tell myself I cannot drive a manual car. And trust me, I did not learn how to drive it, because I used to say it's hard, it's complicated. And when I was in Uganda and I was driving for the last 6 years before I moved here, I failed to drive a manual car because it's what I put in my mind. I'm like, it's hard. So I was only driving automatic. I moved to the UAE, I can only drive automatic. So what am I trying to say? I meet my friend a few days ago and she tells me, Joe, I moved to the UK and I have to drive a manual car. I don't know how to drive a manual car. And I told her, you can do it. And she told me, I can do it, can you? And I told her, no, I can't, because I told myself I can't, So I don't want you to have the mindset I had so many years ago. I could say so many years ago, because I could have learned how to drive a manual car. But because I put that in my mind that I couldn't, I wasted so much time. And right now in UAE, not so many cars are manual cars. So I couldn't have the opportunity of also learning from here. So I told her, UK is a good place. They have a lot of manual cars. Please, you can do it, do it. And she's now practicing the manual car. So I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But it excites me to see that I have empowered someone else to do something that I failed to do. And maybe I could do right now, actually, because my mindset is now more mature, grown. But I feel now that I'm driving automatic, I'm comfortable with that. So sometimes things that may limit you, you could help others not to limit them because of the experience you've learned. And to you, Coach Tanya, to give us your last words before we close.
Yes, thank you, Kajuri. I understand very well that sometimes life throws curveballs at us at some point in our lives. Life throws curveballs. Maybe like I made mention in the last video, talked about that environmental condition. A lot of people are not living their best life today. A lot of people are shooting away from certain things because I don't know, they're projecting this, they're still in their shadow, the shadow of themselves. You get so one thing I just want to make you to understand today is that no matter what it is, no matter what it takes, you are enough. Okay, your situation, your past experiences, your environmental conditioning, they don't define you. And try as much as you can to focus on your circle of control. Focus on the things you have control over. Because as far as life is concerned, there are things we don't have control over. You know, so if you want to dominate your life to be if you want to dominate your life to be happy, you need to dominate your mindset. You need to focus on yourself, focus on those things that will help you thrive. If you're reaching out to any of the coaches here for assistance, for help, for counseling, please do. If they tell you to reach out to a psychologist or a therapist, it's also fine because most times you can't do it all on your own. Find a partner that will help you fight and break free from this limiting beliefs. Like I always say, it's not something that can be eradicated. Okay, but it's something that you can work on, it's something that you can change. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, you're made for greatness. You're great. You're powerful. That don't allow any sort of limiting beliefs stop you. Your environment, the kind of people you surround with, you stay with, your circle, your what I call it, your counterparts, your peer group. If they're not giving you any positive energy, please withdraw. You need people that will help you to grow. Go for a community or people that will help you recognize your value, that will push you to be the best version of yourself. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Coach Joy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Coach Tanya. I'll not add anything on what you've said. It's crystal clear. But I would like to leave a question to anyone watching right now. And I'm glad one of our viewers right now has left us something to keep us in power. The person said I am in charge. So for me, that has left something in my mind. I think it will be my hashtag. I am in charge of my life. If anyone is watching right now, the replay, or even watching us before we go off, I'm leaving you a question. What is limiting you? And if there is anything we've shared right now that you feel can help you, share it with us. And if there is something we've not shared that will empower us also, please leave a comment about it. We'll be sharing the video for the replays on my YouTube channel, Hook On With Joy, and on Coach J's YouTube channel. Coach J at, please, can you give the details, Coach J?
At Coach Njogu.
Very good. Before I say the wrong channel. Otherwise, you can also reach Coach Tanya. I'll put her details. You can reach her down in the comment section. I'll be leaving her details on my YouTube channel, and Coach Joe will do the same. Thank you so much for watching. Until next Wednesday. Cheers, everyone.